Is retargeting dead right now? I'm seeing a lot of videos from marketers complaining about how the pixel is absolutely crushed after the iOS 14 update. And today in this video, I'm going to be showing you campaigns and some of the things that we did differently after this iOS update happened. I'm going to show you exact campaigns where we are retargeting people, where for every dollar we're spending, we're still getting back approximately 9x ROI for every dollar that we put in. And by the end of this video, you're going to be able to discover what are some of the things that you need to be doing differently, especially after the iOS 14 update, especially when the pixel is not as effective as it used to be, and what it is that you need to be doing right now for these ultra high return on investment placements. Let's begin. Alright, so first things first, we gotta understand why this thing is happening. And to understand why this thing is happening, we first gotta understand the background of this entire update and why there's a big change. So the reason why there's a big change is because when Apple rolled out this update, what happened? They literally rolled this out in May 2021. So now there's a good at least 6 months worth of data to really split test and see what's going on. But when they rolled this update out, what basically happened is every single user on the iPhone, whenever they open an app after the update, they will be prompted with something that pretty much says, so and so app wants to be able to track you. Would you like them to track you? Now, most normal, ordinary people, when they see a message or a pop-up like this, whether it's through Facebook, whether it's any app for that matter, the instant reaction would be, no, God! Right? Most people do not see the advantages of being tracked. So, because of that, audience size has shrank significantly. And yes, it's true, the pixel is not as effective as it used to be. Now, if you're new to this entire pixel, I'm going to lead you through an entire playlist of how to make sure you're setting up your Facebook ad account the right way. Be sure to go check out that playlist right after this video. But basically what it means is that whenever you want to track your Facebook ads to make sure that you are tracking your cost per lead, your cost per conversion in order to scale your ads, you got to install this code on all these different pages throughout your entire sales process. And if you did this well, you'll be able to have exact analytics on whether an ad is performing and whether you should scale it harder. And because most people are opting out of being tracked on Facebook, that means your retargeting audiences has shrank significantly. So what is a typical retargeting ad campaign? A retargeting ad campaign is a campaign that sends people to the next step of your sales process, right? So for example, have you ever noticed you land on a page, you added a bunch of stuff to the shopping cart, and you decided you were busy, you changed your mind, you left the page, and literally a few seconds later, you saw an ad from this site that says,
did you forget something? Right, click here to continue or to complete your checkout.
Right now, because people are opting out of being tracked, these sites, including you as the advertiser, won't be able to do that for people that opted out. So that means if they visited, but if they didn't buy, or maybe they landed on a page but didn't register for a webinar, but maybe they registered but didn't show up for a webinar, maybe they showed up for a webinar, didn't buy. Whatever that sales process is, that audience size has shrank significantly. So what does that mean? It means that now we want to be able to think about what are the other different ways that retargets audiences, because they are still our best performing campaigns, that does not rely on the pixel, right? Because you got to understand what this change means. What does it imply, right? It implies that anybody who is retargeting, so you as the advertiser, if you are retargeting based on the pixel, based on somebody visiting a specific page, it's true, it's not going to work as well. However, that being said, I always said this game is all about survival of the fittest, and you can be like what most people are doing, which is complain, cry, and eat ice cream in the living room thinking, why does this have to happen to me? Or you can pivot and adjust and do something different, or You can cry and complain while eating ice cream at the same time while adjusting and pivot, which is what I'm doing, right? So if you want to be able to eat ice cream while pivoting at the same time, then this video here, I'm going to walk you through exactly the action steps that needs to happen, right? So let's go back to my screen over here, and I am going to walk you through the breakdown of what these retargeting campaigns look like and how does life in the advertising world look like post iOS 14 update, right? So I'm going to walk you through some exact campaigns and what it is that we discovered literally after. This is based on actual data. If you're new to the channel, we have spent over tens of millions of dollars on different ads, campaigns, creatives. You can see from this account over here, we've got like over 1,500 campaigns with like 3.7 million ads spent on just this one account alone. This is not as an agency, this is literally by promoting our own products, programs, services, so they can see it is not theory. And by the way, if you enjoy this type of content, be sure to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and also subscribe to the channel if you enjoy videos just like this one where we show you behind the scenes to sales processes, ads, social media based on actual data, not based on theory, right? So you can see here based on these two campaigns. Okay, so I've got a few different campaigns here. This is a retargeting campaign. We've spent about $5,000 on this campaign over here, $3,000. So these campaigns are still up and running, they're still active. However, they're slightly different. Okay, now when it comes to retargeting, now there's a few different levels, and I'm going to show you what these levels are. Okay, so how do you retarget? When you go to your ads manager, one of the things that you'll be able to do is you can go to audiences. Now, how do you go to audiences? This is basically when you click on here on ads manager, and when you go to audiences, right, this is where you click. And what will happen is when you click to audiences, you will be able to create a custom audience. Okay, so this is what retargeting does. Basically, what we want to be able to do is to create a custom audience. And since the pixel isn't as effective as it used to be, we want to be able to retarget people differently. So let's click on custom audience and let me show you what are the different ways to retarget that is just as effective before the iOS update happened. Now, the one that is not as effective is if it's based on website. So what does this mean? If you are retargeting people based on when they landed at a specific page, right? And now you want to target people land on a specific page, this is where people have opted out, they're not being tracked anymore, and therefore is not going to be as effective. However, okay, there are different ways to now retarget people where it's still, the effect is still the same, right? So over here, this is where you could utilize Facebook sources, right? And the first one would be based on video. So based on video, if I clicked on next, ultimately what this means is I can select an audience type of people that has watched or consumed a part or a piece of my videos. Okay, so at the very least, at least 3 seconds. Now I don't like 3 seconds because sometimes the video could be on autoplay when a person is scrolling, and 3 seconds doesn't really show interest. Now, I would recommend if you're starting out to pick at least 10 seconds. Okay, 10 seconds is a great start because it shows some level of interest. Some people might argue that no interest, level of interest. If you know, you know. But basically, I say when it comes to videos, 10 seconds is a good indication that they paid some sort of attention. Now, if you want it to be a person that's really interested, you could select 50%. Now, I normally hardly do this because this would shrink the audience size pretty significantly. So if I want to scale, I would utilize 10 seconds. Or if I'm starting out and I want to be able to see how large the audience size is, this is a good starting point. Okay, so start off with people that's watched at least 10 seconds. And when I select this, next thing is retention. Okay, now you can go back up to 365 days, but there's a good chance if you are running ads and if you're posting videos on your page, if a person watched it 300 days ago, there's a good chance they might not remember who you are or what your content is about. So 365 is what I would use if I want to scale hard, if I know that this is definitely profitable and I just want to be able to spend as much money as possible. But a good start would be 90 days, just to be able to have that recency. So the video over here next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose an audience name, right? So audience name would be probably, watched 10 seconds. Okay, and this is where I can choose my videos. All right, so as you can see, there's a lot of different pages worth of videos. I'm just gonna randomly select 2 videos here just to make a point, right? So there's video number 1 with 168,000 views, video number 2 with 92,000 views. All I'm gonna do, you can pick as many as you want, right? And then I'm gonna click on confirm. So basically what I'm telling Facebook is, based on these 2 videos, if somebody has watched at least 10 seconds, right, create an audience that pretty much says, watch 10 seconds, right? Now you can select as many videos as you want and span back, however many videos, okay? So what I would do is I would take the videos that has done fairly well, and by fairly well, it doesn't mean organically, because we all know that it's a pay-to-play game right now. It will be videos that I might have ran as an ad in the past. It could be videos that it ran for views, but in most cases ran as an ad, so now it's a decent amount of views, and I want to retarget people who watch at least 10 seconds of that ad, right? Because organic is dead and it's pretty much close to nothing. So all I'm going to do is then I'm going to create audience, right? That's how you create a custom audience. And if you haven't done this, this is absolutely something that you need to be doing. You can see here, like in the past, I do have custom audiences of people who visited but did not purchase, and it could be a pretty small, this is a relatively much smaller audience size, but that's the first way, right? The first way is to retarget people whom watched or consumed your stuff. That is not affected as much. Why? Because it's not based on a pixel. It's based on somebody's consumption and not based on their website visit. Okay, so it's not based on a pixel because the pixel is not as effective. Next one is, if you want to be able to retarget people, it will be based on engagement. Okay, so what's engagement? Engagement could be based on your Facebook page, could be based on Instagram account. So if I clicked on this, the next thing that you could be doing is where I could target people who have engaged with my account. Now, what is an engagement? An engagement is basically people who have liked, commented, or subscribed to, commented, or shared, rather, not subscribed. This isn't a YouTube video. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, all right? That's what I'm thinking. So anybody who has engaged, so anybody who has liked, commented, shared, swiped, tapped, any type of clicking of a button to Facebook, that's engaged. Okay, so what I actually enjoy doing, and this is a pro tip for you guys out there to be able to build up this audience, is to once a while do an Instagram story that is a poll. Ask your audience, hey guys, what do you think? Do you think it should be A or B, right? Now, when you run a poll, that is when you are building up engagement on Instagram, and when you are able to do that, this becomes part of your retargeting audience. Okay, so one of the things that you might notice is, every week, at least once a week, I'll do a swipe up campaign. Sometimes I will ask questions, sometimes I'll do a poll. And the reason why I do that is then I can target people who engaged with any ad or post, right? That's one angle. Or sometimes I could say, if you're serious about this thing, send me a DM. Now, what's the purpose of sending a DM? Is so that when people message you, you can retarget them. Now, obviously, if you're doing this at scale, well, initially when you're starting out, you could reply to DMs one by one, but when you're doing this at scale, this is how you'll be able to retarget people, right? Same thing for people who have saved your post, messaged you, or engaged with you. This is how you can retarget them. So one good way is, if you want to include everybody here, it will be just people that engage with this professional account. So if they sent you a DM, if they clicked on your profile, if they checked you out, if they swiped left or right, as long as they engaged, right? This is how you would be able to target them. So like for me over here, I definitely would have, I have one audience that is Instagram, an engaged audience, right? Which is another great way to retarget. So that's number 2, right? So number 1, what is it? People who watch your videos. Number 2, Instagram engagements. Number 3 would be your Facebook page. So very, very similar to Instagram. I want to be able to target people that has engaged with me on the page, because it shows that they are somewhat serious about, or rather there's a level of interest, right, when it comes to topic name. Next one, when it comes to custom audience that is still great for retargeting, is customer list. Okay, over here, customer list. Now, this is where you want to be able to have 2 different lists. Number 1 is your best buyers. Okay, So all of your existing buyers, you want to be able to upload it over here and utilize Facebook AI and have them utilize machine learning to help you find more of these audiences. So what I will do is I'll upload my best audiences, buyers, and then I'll create a lookalike of this audience so that I can target as well as retarget that audience. Now, if you're watching this video and you're going, but Peng Joon, I don't have an audience or buyers. So that's where your second tier of audience that would be second best would be leads, right? Anyone who have ever given you their opt-in or registered for a webinar in one way, shape, or form, so you retarget them and or create a lookalike audience of your leads. So you always create a lookalike of your best buyers first, and then after that, lookalike of your leads. Okay, so this is how you can still retarget them where it is not dependent on the pixel and still get significant ROI that is not based on the pixel. So that's pretty much it. That is what we are doing, and that is why retargeting is not dead. The pixel is not as effective, but again, it always comes back down to survival of the fittest, doing something different. And guess what? If you are feeling it, guess what Facebook is feeling? They are probably in utter chaos right now, trying to fix and find a solution to this. Because yes, a lot of advertisers are bleeding money and they've already gotten wiped out, and hopefully that's not you. And if you don't want to get wiped out, and if you're enjoying this video, number one, in the comments, type in run Facebook ads together with what your biggest takeaway is. We are constantly selecting 3 random winners to whoever who comments below. Smash the like button, and if you truly want to get good at Facebook ads, be sure to binge watch this entire Facebook playlist that is going to appear in front of you right now in about 5 seconds. Here we go.